Good evening, at least in France, everyone, and welcome back to the Osk Island Research channel for a new video. I wanted to continue studies about the Da Vinci painting, the Virgin of the Rock, La Vierge au Rocher, because I only surfaced the subject, the first video I made about it. And just to recap, this is the painting, or actually the paintings, as there are two versions of La Vierge au Rocher. There is a version that's currently at the Louvre, and that's the first version. It's in chronological order, and it was certified painted by Leonardo da Vinci. That's the left-hand side picture. The second version comes on the right-hand side, is the National Gallery, as I explained in a former video. And experts doubt that Leonardo da Vinci painted it. They reckon he composed it, and there are some subtle changes and cross appearing, and people get a bit displaced. What I mentioned, but I didn't show, I realized that later in my former video, is that I was claiming that 2 years ago, in 2018, sorry, or 2019, was revealed by X-ray on the left picture, the left drawing, which is the original one, that it was not how it was originally composed by Da Vinci. Sorry, it's the right-hand side. But whatever you take it, this is the one that chronologically came later. But still, when you look at the composition of both, it's almost the same composition. What they mean is that the original composition was very different, and the people were not placed at the same place originally in what Da Vinci wanted to do. And we're going to see in this video that where he placed them and all their hands and eyes and sight is very, very interesting. So I owed you that is that X-ray that they discover about the original composition and what it should have been. So just to go back a little bit into time, on the first video about Da Vinci, I wanted you to have a close look at this geometry of the island, where we recognize the Nolan Cross in green, the east-west line in black, and some section here between those red lines and the Nolan Cross I painted in yellow. And we know those features, the anchor box, and the money pit, and etc. And during the video, I said that I discovered on the Wikipedia page in French of La Vierge au Rocher that drawing made by whoever studies art, could be the Louvre people themselves or some national, we're full of national committees studying arts. And what caught my eye, because it was really by chance, I checked this painting of Da Vinci amongst other, I recognized that pattern. And what I did in the last video, I overlaid it. I took the island picture and I overlaid it with the painting. And that was it. So I worked a bit more on this and actually did the opposite. I took the painting and I overlaid it to the island, onto the island. So what we have here, let me use the transparency. There we go. So what I did is I took the picture and I scaled it, I orientated it, I kept the proportion right. PowerPoint allows when you move in one direction a picture, it compensates by increasing the other border, so you're sure that your ratio is fine. And what I saw, and I'm going to play with this for you, I'm just going to make it come and go. You can see many lines that are matching on the island. Because when I discovered this, we didn't have the scales. The second scale was not established. I don't even think the first one was at the time. Now we can see many, many, many other points coming up. But because, and I thank, of course, Michael for using the background picture, even though I didn't formally ask for it, what I did is, because there's so many lines, you don't even know what contributes to what. So what I did for you is I isolated the lines. In white, The white dotted lines are the lines you will find according to the Louvre expert about how the picture, the drawing is composed. You get the triangle, and you've got that line that doubles the side triangle line. You got the east-west line in dotted here, and you got Northern Cross that appears, right? That's my dotted system. My dotted line describes just these lines, the green, the yellow, and the blue. I put everything in white. But what I did on top by overlaying those pictures, because I can overlay them as I showed you here, I could recognize easily the features of the painting. So I draw in dots, in red dots, those features, and I put a comment next to it so that we don't, I mean, it's already very overlaid. So I'll try to make things as clear as we can with that much feature on the island, but bear with me. So Mary's eyes is here. Jesus' eyes, oh, sorry, I got to open for the cat. Jesus' eye is here. It's the toddler on the left-hand side of Da Vinci's painting. You get the hand of Jesus there. You get Mary's eye is here, and she's looking at Jesus. That line is established by the Louvre Museum, and that hits right into the vault. Very interesting. You got Uriel, the angel, eye. His eye is actually exactly matching what Michael calls the 1973 strange rock. I couldn't find any record on this, but I mean, he's so meticulous that I'm sure that rock is documented, and that's exactly Uriel's eye. Mary's finger is here, and we'll detail those points again in a second. Uriel's finger, the angel, is right at the intersection of the two branches of the Northern Cross. The headstone is the angel Uriel finger pointing, and John the Baptist's eye is that dot here. So that's the feature you can find, not only alignments of crosses and angles and lines as the original picture I used show, that's the dotted lines. We can see there's many points of interest based on the character, the 1, 2, 3, 4 characters with their eyes and with their fingers pointing. Very, very interesting, isn't it? So many coincidences. Like my dad says, was the most skeptical man I've seen. Having 2 lines matching and 2 dots make it a coincidence. Having that many makes it not a coincidence. So if it is not a coincidence, it means Leonardo da Vinci knew about those points, which brings me to the next slide. If we take the assumption that Leonardo da Vinci knew those points and they were important enough so that he would record them one or another into one of his paintings, my assumption is that he visited Osk Island during his lifetime. It means that at the time the painting was painted, 1483, when he started the first version. At this time in the century, those points were established, because otherwise he couldn't have drawn them with that much precision in the ratios, the angle, the points. If you're painting it in 1483, it means those things exist in 1843. Or it could mean that the island geometry was built on his painting. He creates a painting and some people decide that on this island, Osk Island, they're going to put stones here and there so that it matches the painting. I don't believe that. I believe the painting is representing what was on the island. I'll let you make your judgment about it, but it sounds very weird that Leonardo da Vinci makes a painting in 1483 and then people start to put rocks in places on an island, remote, not even officially discovered because Christopher Columbus hasn't landed in the US, but they're still making, no, come on, that's the opposite. Really, the story is the island existed and he visited it and he took records of those features and he coded them in a painting. So what do we have in 1483 was already on the island? Northern Cross, because he clearly represents it in the dotted the way the Saint Jean-Baptiste eye is aligned with the finger of Uriel, which is aligned with Mary's finger. That's one branch. The hand of Jesus and Uriel is exactly aligned with the 90-degree angle with those three I mentioned above, making the cross. And the length of the cross is exactly sized to the length of the island. There is something about a scale there that's yet to be discovered, of course, I guess. The scale system we discovered, our dot to dot discovered 80% of it, and I discovered 20% of it to put things in the right order. They are known. Why they were known? Well, he knew about those scales, and that's why it's so important. You remember one of the blue line represents the length of that scale. And when you put it from the south anchor to the triangle 2 or triangle DECS, and you do it again, it hits the north anchor, right? So this is the same distance from north anchor to triangle 2, then etc. Well, that also matches with that vertical line in the composition from Mary's eye to Jesus' eye, meaning that point here, which is also hitting the red line across what I call the box, that point was known because that line from Mary is exactly hitting it. So that's what makes me think that the scale system was known and was an important artifact in the map and the construction of the geometry. It's shown on the La Rochefoucauld map. It's shown here somehow because you need those two scale lines to join from the south anchor and the north anchor to determine that point through which Mary's eye, Jesus' eye passed through. The importance of the east-west line in the geometrical construction. The east-west line is here in black, right? And it hits Jesus' eye and John the Baptist's eye. So that line is established east-west. Jesus to John the Baptist is the east-west line. You have to align the painting on. The 1973 strange rock, that rock on top, is Uriel's eye. So, and it's an important feature because again it hits in several sight lines. And Uriel's eyes, as put on Leonardo da Vinci, with the painting at the right angle with the right scale, is exactly aligned with the 1973 strange rock. What else was known back in the days of Leonardo da Vinci? The line going from the drilled rock to the hole. So that yellow line on top here, that because of the zoom you don't see, I checked with dot to dots picture, that red line goes from the hole, the place we really would like to have a clear view and a very close view on this someday in real life before I die maybe. So the hole, and that hole, it's the point here, which is the drilled rock. It's on the alignment of Nolan's Cross, but it goes further beyond Nolan Cross. It goes all the way there. Of course, that line is known because Mary's finger is exactly on that line. So interesting again, huh? That it's those positioning. And Mary's finger is also probably, no, it's not. It's on that green light that goes up to, I think it's the grounding line that goes to the other island. I'm not sure. What else was known? The distance between John the Baptist's eye, so John the Baptist's eye is here, and that distance to Jesus' eye, which is nothing but the intersection of the east-west line with the Northern Cross for John the Baptist's eye, and for Jesus' eye, it's the intersection of the east-west line with the scale line there. So that distance was known already, because that's exactly the distance he put with respect to the scale. When you scale up the painting to the size of the island, that's exactly the same distance. What else was known? The position of the red lower box line. Oh yeah, that I don't know how to call it. That red line here, right? That red line is exactly aligned with the base of the triangle. I'm wrong by 1 or 2 degrees, because remember, we're working with pictures of painting that are overlaid, and just the fact that on the painting, with all the approximation you can guess on a painting, this is not technical drawing, it's a painting, it's art. It's already, it's just so close already. I think if you rework the Le Louvre museum analysis, they use very thick, where is it here? yeah, very thick lines. It's very hard, it's go to the thumb, not to the thumb. The eye in the middle, it's not in the middle. I guess if we had a little bit more precise drawing, we would be perfectly matching. But again, I'm allowing a couple of, 1 or 2 degrees off is very possible. We're working with documents that's 500 years old, 580. My gosh. But this is a line, and it's not by chance. And finally, the violet fish line, which is here. So that violet, dark blue violet fish line from Michael goes from the back fin of the fish all the way to the 1979 scale confirmation, right there, that point. And that point goes through Mary's eye. So that was a line that was important and that was known already. Or it's pure coincidences. That's a lot of coincidences. Way too many coincidences. Let me get back to the big picture here. What do you think? I mean, look at every character's got an eye and a finger pointing somewhere and an eye looking at something. And every of those, the CAT-SIS 8 features, are features on the island. When you scale them to the right size, the size of the island, the triangle marrying, the Nolan's Cross marrying the Nolan's Cross on Da Vinci's painting, and then you got those points which are particular, except Mary's eye. It seems it's a non-revealed point. All of them are hard fact points that we can easily retrace on what we know of the map, but not this one. There's no boulder. There's no. Mary's eye is interesting because she's outside of the picture. But that's it for today. I just wanted to raise awareness with this, that I carried on with Leonardo da Vinci, and I'm more and more convinced the Leonardo da Vinci painting is linked and it's got more to tell us. So talk to you again soon for more discoveries. Thanks for watching. You take care. Bye-bye.